Victoria, back at it again with another knitting podcast called Yarnquisition. I can't even remember it. I hope you have a great week because I didn't. Cried a lot. And I hope you have like a tea, a latte with you, because, you know, gotta have your tea, gotta have your knits, gotta have your yarn, and your sweaters. And you have to have a hydrated throat so you can talk. So today, I didn't really have a lot of things to share. But depending on how much I ramble, it could be really long. Like, it could be, like, you never know. So I'm wearing the landscape sweater by mai.accents, a company that's owned and operated by Marzia. And the fit's okay. It looked way better in the photos that she took than on me, or like on my frame at least, or maybe how I made it, because I don't know, it's just like the fit was like unexpected for some reason. But it's nice yarn. It's the wool, or We Are Knitters the wool, in ochre, hashtag skylovers, lead, this also ochre, this dusty pink, and then the cinnamon color. And I used 2 balls of the cinnamon color and then 1 ball of everything else. But I didn't know that because the pattern doesn't even say how many balls of yarn for each size, so you're gonna have to figure that out on your own. But this is an X small, so you need at least 1 of each, and then 2 for like this color, or the bottom color. Yeah, just to let you know. And then it's mostly charted, and there's barely any instructions, and I had to learn to chart on my own. I had to look up how to read charts, or knitting charts, because I know how to read crochet charts, which is very vastly different from knitting charts, because on the right side, because in Antarctica you kind of have to knit flat, on the right side it's purling, or no, on the right side it's knitting because it's stockinette, and then when you go on the wrong side, you read it from left to right instead of right to left, and then the knits become purls on the wrong side, so it's a lot of like back and forth every row, and it was a lot for a beginner and for like first time reading charts. Yeah, but other than that, it's pretty straightforward pattern, because you knit everything flat and then you sew everything together. I even knit the collar flat too, and it tells you how to do that, thankfully. But then the way the collar lays is like not how I like collars to lay, because you can totally tell it's like 2D. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm still gonna wear it. I made it. I'm not gonna unravel it because it's too much work to do. And yeah, just whatever. I have 2 old things that I made in the past. One's a crochet, one's something else, Kumihimo, if you know what that is. First, let me show you the crochet doily that I made in 2016, 2017. I'm not really sure on the dates, but this is a pattern in a book that I got that same year, and this is yarn called from the brand La Mia, and I think it's from Turkey, and you can buy it on Amazon. But yeah, sometimes it goes out of stocks, so yeah, it's just like a whole thing, because you know how Amazon is. But it's so pretty. I love it. But I don't know why the front side is a lot more like what do you call it, like faded than the back side, which never gets sun, you know, let's be real, it never gets sun. So yeah, the light fastness of the yarn is like not that great, but I mean, it'll do the job. So if you get the lighter colors, you won't have this problem. I think it's because it's such a saturated color that there's that problem. But even when it's faded, it doesn't look bad. Like it looks more like me, honestly. Yeah. Oof. Yeah, you can't really. Oh, you can see it now. The stitching. Ugh. And it's from this book. Do you recognize this? It was in the back if you saw it last time. In my last knitting podcast. It's called Extra-Special Doilies by Leisure Arts. And who's the person that made these? There's a tech editor, instructional editor, 2 graphic design artists, and 2 photographers. Or one's photo stylist and 1 photographer. I think it's made by 4 people. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4 people. Belinda Baxter, Mariana Crowder, Freda Gillum, I think, and Mary Vallon. Yeah, it says so in the first page, basically, of this little booklet. Oh, it says designs by Mary Werst. I think officially it's by Mary Werst. Not exactly sure, but I think so. And then it got like test knitted by like 4 different people, I think. That's what they mean. And it's this one. It's called the Excellent Doily. They did it in green. Looks very nice. And it also has the same rippling as mine does when it lays flat. So I think that's like part of the quirkiness of this specific pattern. And all of them say that it's for like super experienced crochet people or crocheters. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, and tells you like how much of what. And it gives you a gauge swatch, which I didn't even gauge swatch this because I used a worsted yarn, and this calls for a size 10 crochet thread or cotton thread. And it's supposed to be 12 inches of diameter, but this turned out to be 16 inches because I used a different yarn and therefore a different crochet needle. And luckily, I put what the worsted, how many yards it took, and the needle I used. So I used like, I think 4.5 balls of yarn in worsted, because this came in a pack of 5, so maybe, yeah, like 4.5-ish skeins of yarn, worsted weight, and in a mercerized cotton. Okay, mercerized cotton, very different from regular cotton because it'll show, mercerized cotton will show the stitch a lot more, and it won't be like, it'll hold its shape more too. And I use the size 4.25 millimeter hook, which I could have used 4.0 millimeter hook, but I didn't have it, and I didn't want to spend money on like an extra hook that I could just use 4.25, and it worked out fine. Although it took a long time to make, just because of course every row is different. It's a doily. Most doilies are different every single row. But it was just so fun because it's, but yeah, I did mess up quite a bit, I remember now. So I did have to undo like every other sequence because it's just like, it was the first one I made out of this book. So now that I made like 4 or 5 doilies from this book, it's like, I look back on this, I'm like, wow, this is super easy. I could do this again. Like, yeah, it's just like when you get more experience, you just know what to do. Yeah, so I'd say don't be discouraged by like the difficulty rating, because I find that it's actually not that difficult. But when you're thrown all this information, of course it's gonna be difficult. So I'm just gonna lay this right here next to my pushing thing. But yeah, it's just so nice. I think this book was like $10 or something. Yeah, it's super cheap, so get it while you still can, because sometimes it goes out of print and I'm like, why? Well, I know why. It's because no one buys it if it goes out of print, you know. And then in this Rhodia book, I have a lot of like knitting and crochet Kumihimo notes. So for that vintage pattern I showed last time, I wrote down the chart for it, but it's super messy because I wrote it by hand and it's a vintage chart, but like, Jesus Christ, it's so messy and ugly. Like, I could barely read it too, honestly. So yeah, I definitely need to rewrite it or something, because I definitely did mess up while I was writing it, and there's so much like white out on it. Because I wrote it in pen. Like, that was so stupid. Like, I should have just wrote it in pencil. But yeah, I definitely did it in pen. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this booklet that I have for like who knows how long, like 6-7 years already, I think. Maybe even longer, but I think about 7 years. It's because I made this last year. Because, let me see if you can see this. I made this last year because I think I watched, oh no, 2 years ago, 2020. I made it in 2020. That was a long time ago. It feels like not that long ago, but it's like 2 years ago now. I made this because I watched Weathering with You, and it reminded me of Your Name. So in Your Name, they like made Kumihimo braids. It's like a braided cord. That's what it is. The Kumihimo technique is like you use like some kind of tube structure, and then you just braid stuff. Well, it's really hard to describe it, but there's some videos online where they teach you the braids, how to braid it, like the simple like 4-cord or like the simple 8-cord braid. I think that's this one. It's either the 6 or 8-cord braid originally, like this part. So, and this is a 20-cord braid using mercerized cotton. The same one as I used the vintage pattern, the cafe au lait, that one. But yeah, I used ecru, white and a caramel color for this one. And I used ecru because I didn't know if there's enough white for this. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I use this as a belt when I wear this and like my red checkered pants. But I'm not wearing the red checkered pants because I'm on period and I don't want to ruin it. Don't want to, fucking do all that. So yeah. Love this braid. It's just so nice. It's starting to pill, but like not that much. But I feel like it wouldn't have pilled as bad if I used this mercerized cotton because it's just so much better, in my opinion. The one from Turkey. Turkey has so much good yarn. Like, why? How? And why is it so cheap? So yeah. And I brought this up because I also have notes on this. So I think this is, originally it was 108 inches long, and then after I braided it up, it was 72 inches. So it's like 6 feet. Is it 6 feet? I mean, maybe. Yeah, I think, this braid is called Ishidatami. And these are my notes for it. It's just like so bare, honestly, because someone made a YouTube video exactly how to braid this, and that's what I followed. That's how I even found this kind of pattern. And yeah, it gets confusing if you don't actually watch that video, because watching that video is just so much easier. It's like, wow, this is so easy. And it's so pretty. It's like one of my favorite Kumihimo braids. Like, these can get so crazy so fast. It really matters which one goes over which, because that will impact the pattern and whether it's consistent or not. So if you want to do Kumihimo, it's easy. You barely need any like tools, but all I used was like a tube, like what are these called? Like shipping tubes, right? I think this one is from like a poster, because I buy K-pop albums and sometimes they come with posters, or you could buy posters. So that's what happened, and that's how I got one of these. But you can buy these at Blix, Michael's, any art and craft store, you can get this. And sometimes there is even bigger ones. I suggest using the bigger ones because this diameter is so freaking freaking tiny, like, you need a bigger one. It's way easier. There's less hassle, and you have to have a weight on it too. So you have to account for how big the weight is. Yeah, I really like made it so janky. And I use like clothespins to like as bobbins because you need to wind every single one individually. So you need 20 bobbins for this, and it was worth it. It's so easy. Wow. It's mostly the setup it's like weaving. The setup is crazy, but then when you do it, it's so easy and it's so fun. But if I could get the marudai, the professional, thing to make it, the official one to make it, that's way easier because it's all open. So then, you don't have to reach in the tube, take it out, and then wind up what you made. Yeah. I mean, if I could show you, I would, but I don't want to do all that right now. So those are the two old things I've made before this podcast. Before I even started knitting, I learned Kumihimo. Like, that's crazy. Why did I learn Kumihimo before knitting? Like, I don't know what I was thinking. And, this is what I started just this week, like 4 days ago, I think. Because this is, you can see this, right? The stitch marker. So from here to the stitch marker is day 1. From here to the next stitch marker, which is right here, that's day 2. And day 3 is from here to here. Day 4 is here to here. And then today is day 5 of making this. And this is the Olive cardigan by Knitting for Olive. And I bought so much yarn because they have new colors in their soft silk mohair. The soft silk mohair is like my favorite because it's not itchy at all. Yeah, it's just so fluffy compared to the kid silk mohair. I mean, don't get me wrong, kid silk mohair is still cheaper, but I think it's only like $3 cheaper compared to this one. Especially if you bulk buy, or if you buy a lot at once, the shipping turns out to be like 50 cents each ball of yarn. So it's cheaper buying it from Knitting for Olive, KFO's website, than buying it in the US from a local store, even if the shipping is free. So that's kind of shitty for local yarn shops, but I mean, I think it's because they also have to pay customs or something, because they buy in bulk, and if it's like over 800 or something, or maybe it's even just because it's commercial, you just have to pay import taxes, probably. I mean, I'm no business. I'm no, like, I don't own a business. Like, I don't know for sure, but I think that's what's going on. And that's why they have to add even more, like, raise the prices even more. And then the freaking, oh my god, the freaking, what's it called? It's like the 3% every year. I forget. That gets more complicated too. If I remember by the end of this, maybe I'll say it. But yeah, there's a lot of increase and decrease, and that's like been the death of me on the sleeve, because the, what do you call it? the lykke needles, like the working area is so short. Maybe it's because it's like they're short needles. Maybe that's why. So if you compare it to the Knitpicks like 5-inch length, it's so much more different. It's like way taller, like by half a centimeter at least. So that gives me so much more room to work the yarn than this. So it's been like using my nails to like hold yarn back so it doesn't slip off the needle. Yeah, it's just so much more work, and that's why I'm so slow on the sleeves, I think. But I mean, I can't do much about it. Like, oh, and I just switched needles from 6.5 to, 6.5 to 6 millimeter because I want it more tapered, and I don't want it to be like this where it's like really poofy. I find that I like really struggle not getting it in my food when it's that poofy. So yeah, it's just to curb that. So I switched from 6.5 to 6.0 at the half sleeve mark after 2 full sequences, charts. Yeah. I don't know if I'm talking too much about the patterns, but I'm not saying any numbers besides like how many sequences, but I mean, you can already kind of see the sequence when you see the finished product. So that's fine, right? But yeah, it's so light right now, and it's like only did the yoke and half a sleeve. So I mean, once it's the full length that I want it to be, which is dress size, like that's at least 70 centimeters. I don't know what that is in inches. I didn't measure it in inches for some reason, but yeah, 70 centimeters. That's how long I'm gonna make the body. So wish me luck. It might take me until May to finish, maybe. And I'm putting it in this free bag so that I can just turn this around when I do the sleeve, because it just gets all over the place. And it kind of protects the yoke from like pilling before you wear it. So you just turn it around like this as you knit it, the circumference. So that's really handy. And I'm also using this Innisfree bag because it's like sturdy. It can handle 3 balls of yarn, so that's great. And yes, I did buy a lot of Innisfree, but I no longer want to buy their stuff because there's only one product I buy from them, but I get it from Sephora now, so whatever. And I kicked up the alpaca cloud and the Simply Wool worsted by Knitpicks. So I just bought the pattern today, and this is what I did yesterday or 2 days ago, or 2 days ago. Yes. And I worked up a swatch. I got gauge and I undid it. That's why it's just so much like yarn right here. That's not like in the caked pattern. Yeah. I'm not like super 100% sold on this combo, but maybe when I work it up, it'll be fine. if I have to undo it, I'm probably just gonna give it to somebody if I don't like it or don't want to wear it. I mean, yeah. I'm saying that because this is like kind of cheap. It wasn't that much, but it was kind of a lot. I don't know. Like, I'm still on the fence about it, but it's too late. I already bought it. I can't return it. I kicked it up. It's my first time using what's that thing called? The spinner thing. No, not the yarn winder. What is it called? Yarn Swift. It's a Yarn Swift from Knitpicks. Yeah, it was my first time using it. I'm like low-key impressed with myself because I didn't twist it or anything, but I forget why I'm familiar with it. Maybe it's because I wanted to dye yarn for a long time and I watched like a ton of videos like years and years ago on YouTube on how to dye yarn and how to like measure yarn to make it into a hank of yarn. And yeah, I think I went down that rabbit hole like a few years ago, like 3 years ago. And I guess I retained that knowledge, so now I know how to undo and also know how to tie it, which is, you know, like information I didn't need to know. I still don't need to know it, but it makes it really easy to unwind or to wind hanks of yarn. Oh my gosh, I'm just like really struggling with words right now, and really please excuse this piece of hair. Like, it just won't stay down, and I think it's because it's bedhead, I think. This is why I don't have short hair. It's because of this. But usually I tuck it behind my ear and it like stays there, and then it comes out curled like this, and then it stays down. But today it refuses to stay down. It's just gonna be this weird thing here, like a cowlick, except it's not here, it's here. Oh, and I matched my nails to, or I tried to match my nails to what I'm working on right now, but it's more blue for sure because the main color is aquamarine by We Are Knitters. Did I say that? It's aquamarine in the finita yarn by We Are Knitters. This is how much I used it. It's still like quite a bit left, and 2 strands of Knitting for Olive KFO Dusty Artichoke, which makes it such a nice color. Ooh, that was a lot of talking. Need a drink. And the sun's coming out finally after like hours of being behind the clouds. I had to turn on the light because it was just so dark in here. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this. I know I was all over the place. I can't think of the right words for some reason. And yeah, crochet, kumihimo, knitting. I do a lot. At the same time, I don't do enough. You know what I mean? It just feels like I don't. But yeah, hopefully I can get started on sweater number 9 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. Did I even say that this is what this yarn is for? Yeah, it's for sweater number 9, okay? Sweater number 9. And I just bought it today along with camisole number 4 and sweater number 15. So hopefully I can get those underway if I don't want to work on sweater number 9. But I can't work on it until I finish the sleeve because I just ran out of cables and I don't want to buy more. Yeah, because it's supposed to be 16-inch. It started with the 16-inch diameter cable. But I don't have one right now. I have a 20-inch, but that's too big. So I hope you worked on something, finished something, started something, and I'm your host, Victoria. You can call me Vic if you made it this far, or you can just call me by my channel name, which is Hu Celine, or Celine Hu. It's Mandarin for my Chinese name, and Cantonese is Wu Xiao Lam. So whichever one you want to call me. I don't know how to spell that in Cantonese, so your guess is as good as mine. But yeah, I only know in Mandarin, or how to spell it in Mandarin, so yeah. But I also don't know how to pronounce it in Mandarin because Mandarin is not my native dialect of Chinese. It's like Taishanese, Toisanwa, and Cantonese, and then Hoisanwa and Hoisanwa. Like, I don't know. It's so complicated. Like, Chinese dialects are crazy. And then I also know how to read Korean, but my Korean's so low. It's still like beginner, intermediate level, so, and I can't converse with anybody, and listening is the worst. It's so fast. Korean is so fast. And then my French only took 3 years of French, but my 3rd year I didn't even learn anything because the teacher was so bad. And that's why I can pronounce it, but it's in a bad accent. So I just want to pronounce it the American way. So, yeah, I dabble in a lot of languages, but I suck at all of them. English is the only fluent one, so yeah. Language is not my strong suit, although I try. I try my hardest, and then nothing sticks, so yeah. And I wanted to make this podcast more lighthearted, but when I'm by myself, I'm not that lighthearted. But when I'm with other people, I don't know, it's so different by myself. I think that's all I want to talk about. If I moved too much in this episode, so sorry. And I think the lighting changed again. So, and I don't watch back these episodes because I just can't bear to watch myself, listen to myself. I just can't do any of that because I'll just never upload. So I can't edit this, and I don't have a computer that can actually edit this, or yeah, hopefully I can fix that or buy a new computer to fix that problem. But I still can't promise that I will edit it because it'll just never come out. So until I can have the courage to edit videos of myself, I can edit videos of other people, no problem, but of myself, it's like, that's like, I'm just so self-critical, I can't do it. Or just nothing will ever come out. So, yeah, if you made it this far, thank you. If you watched all the episodes, wow, you deserve a round of applause. Like, that's crazy. Like, I don't know why you would listen to me ramble about everything and nothing at the same time. Yeah. Okay. I don't know how to sign these off, so bye until next time.